Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Brian Kelly, the LSU Tigers are just stacking a ridiculous amount of speed on this LSU offense in the 2025 cycle, landing the commitment of three-star wide receiver Phillip Wright from the state of Louisiana. You take a look at Phillip Wright, first thing that pops out, 10.46 in the 100-meter dash. It's pretty clear what LSU is valuing on the offensive side of the football. And that speed, I mean, you look down the list of these last couple of classes for LSU, Jelani Watkins, 10.19 in the 100-meter dash, freaky speed. Caden Durham, 10.26. The amount of speed that LSU is acquiring on the offensive side of the football for quarterback Bryce Underwood to come in and work with, I think it's going to be a really exciting offense. But I think most importantly, when you have all that speed on the offensive side of the football, you know this offense is going to be explosive, whether it's working 9 routes vertically down the field, whether it's just getting the football into these kids' hands in the short intermediate route trees. When you're just faster than the opposing defense that is trying to cover you, it becomes very easy to run an offense. Phillip Wright certainly going to add to that speed to this LSU offense. Really excited to get into the film of Phillip Wright. Many of you guys know I'm a Michigan fan. He was previously committed to Michigan. I think y'all got a good one here. Kind of flying under the radar, a little bit undersized wide receiver, but man, can this kid cook. And I think most importantly, it's one thing to have the track times. It's another thing to translate that to the football field. I think Phillip Wright does a beautiful job translating that 10.5 100-meter dash speed to Friday nights on the football field. Really excited to get into this one. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys. And it's been a blast this summer breaking down all these commitments for this LSU program. The amount of support y'all continue to show to the boys truly does mean a lot. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into Phillip Wright. And again, I think the speed is where you start with Phillip Wright. Another couple of things that really stick out to me about Phillip Wright, just from a physical trait standpoint, 10'1" broad jump. This kid's not only fast in a straight line, he is twitched up. He has the ability to make people miss and then turn on the jets. A lot of times what hurts these elite track and field athletes as they transition to the college level is once the speed becomes less of a factor, do you have other things that you can rely on to be a good football player? And make no mistake about it, Phillip Wright is going to use his speed in this LSU offense, but he's also very twitchy. He has really nice change of direction skills. He's explosive. That stuff matters. Coming together with speed, that's how you get some of those dynamic wide receivers. Again, you take a look at that class, Harlem Berry. It is a very fast, even Derek Meadows, who goes 6'4", 200 pounds. Derek Meadows is an accomplished track and field athlete. So even the big bodies in this LSU offensive room, they're going to roll. And you get into the film of Phillip Wright, there's a couple of different things that you really like about his game. First, what he can do vertically. He tracks the ball really nice. And when you have a guy like Phillip Wright or a guy like Derek Meadows or a guy like Jelani Watkins, these defensive coordinators that are playing LSU on offense, especially with how well Bryce Underwood throws that deep ball, attacking the deeper third, you're going to have to play with your safeties well off the line of scrimmage. And not only are you going to be able to hit some explosive plays with all of this speed down the field, you're going to be able to create a lot of space in some of those short intermediate route tree concepts as well. And so just the spacing of the offense under Joe Sloan, Bryce Underwood, I think it's going to be a thing of beauty. Again, getting into the film of Phillip Wright, one, the kid just burns. Like if you are a safety and you are kind of looking at Phillip Wright horizontally, it means you're already beat. And he's going to run right by most safeties if he's kind of even with them. You continue to work through the film. He's also very, very good after the catch. And again, Phillip Wright's not just this one-trick pony that can only run in a straight line. You turn on the film here, the ability to make people miss. You go back to this play. If you're this safety coming downhill trying to play Phillip Wright, you might think you have the good angle here. If you take a lazy angle, a bad angle, Phillip Wright is going to run right by you. This kid has incredible amounts of juice, not only in terms of running in a straight line, but in terms of accelerating and making people miss. Again, just get the football into his hands. Normally good things are going to happen. Really, really good feel. Obviously, just kind of outrunning the defense there. How about a little bit of a hustle play from Phillip Wright? Love to see our wide receivers in the high school film showing some hustle, being in the right spots at the right time. Really, really exciting. Creating some separation in those short intermediate route trees. Again, really, really good feel. This is one of my favorite routes. We talked about this when he committed to Michigan. Take a look at these coaches on the bottom of your screen. Like, what are you doing running backwards? And then you're like, oh, wait, never mind. Forgot how fast you were. Again, he is dynamic when he has the football in his hands. He can do that kind of stuff and get away with it because of the caliber of athlete and the speed that he brings to the table. Work in the middle of the field. Again, making people miss, splitting defenders. A lot of different aspects to Phillip Wright's game. Probably needs to add a little bit more weight, right? 5'11", 175. You see that physicality sometimes. Again, this is kind of what we're getting at right here. The ability to make people miss. This is what you love. I mean, he's a human joystick when he has the football in his hands. So it all of a sudden becomes so easy to get Phillip Wright involved in this offense. You take a look at LSU and what they have in this 2025 cycle. Again, it's headlined by the number one player in the country, the number one quarterback, personally a quarterback that I think is going to be special at the collegiate level. And Bryce Underwood would not put it by DJ Pickett to play a little bit of offense too. Derek Meadows, 5-star wide receiver, physically one of the most gifted wide receivers, if not the most gifted wide receiver in this 2025 cycle. You got running back Harlem Berry, who again can burn. You look at Caden Durham and Harlem Berry over the next couple of years, that's going to be a running back room that if you can get those kids in space, good things are going to happen. You continue to scroll down and say, hey, we're filling it up with some difference makers. TJ Lindsey, one of the top players in the state of Louisiana. Teron Francis, another guy that a little bit of a different flavor, more bigger, thicker wide receiver at 6'2", 200 pounds. I look at this LSU offensive class and say you have to be fired up, right? Carius Kern, Tyler Miller on the offensive line, all protecting a guy like Bryce Underwood. I think Brian Kelly, and we said this the other day, it does seem like Brian Kelly is getting more comfortable recruiting at LSU, understanding where he wants to get his players from. You take a look, Bryce Underwood all the way up in Michigan. You got DJ Pickett in Florida. You got all the talented kids in Louisiana staying at LSU, and it sounds like LSU's in the thick of it for 5-star wide receiver Jamie French. I think this is all a result of if you are able to have a Heisman caliber quarterback, to put 2 wide receivers into the first round of the NFL draft, you start generating a lot of buzz around your program. If you are a dynamic playmaker, a quarterback, a wide receiver, a running back, it's really hard not to look at that LSU offense and say, that's the offense that I want to go play for. So I think LSU is doing a really nice job capitalizing on some momentum that's created on the football field, using it on the recruiting trail. That's exactly what you want to see. I know LSU had you could argue a disappointing season in 2023 with the amount of talent they had on offense. It's undoubtedly turning around at LSU. They're using that momentum on the recruiting trail, doing a nice job on the defensive side of the football as well. We'll cut it there. Wanted to hop on, talk about Phillip Wright, a guy that I've really liked ever since he committed to Michigan. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.